Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. So today I wanted to do a quick tutorial on the Crepe Paper Rosettes. I've done a little research, research on YouTube, checking out some videos. And I've saw a few different techniques to making them. And this technique I think I like the best. I thought they came out the best. I like the size. These are 2-inch, is what I'm going to show how to make today. You can make them bigger. Yeah, these are about 2-inch. So I like the size, and I like the way they come out. They look finished, even when, you know, it's just the rosette, but obviously it can be embellished. But I do like how it looks finished, or even unfinished, I should say, because it's clean. It's a nice extra or goodie to give, plain, in a swap. They'll fit in the embellishment boxes in this size. I'm sorry, the cat's playing with all the crepe paper. Okay, come on, kitty, be good. So, yeah, I'm going to jump kind of right in. Now, I got crepe paper from the Dollar Tree. As you can see, mine are Mardi Gras color. I know, kitty, you just want to play with the crepe paper. I get it. It's Mardi Gras colors, because I'm working on a Mardi Gras YouTube hop, which details will be coming very soon on that. So I got some from the Dollar Tree. You get 2 rolls of the same color for $1, which is a pretty good deal, but they are limited on colors. So I did go to Party City the other day, and it's 99 cents a roll. These rolls look a little small right now, but that's because I've used off of it, but they were more like this size when I got them. And I'm pretty sure they were 99 cents, but then they were like, I think it was, they were buy one, get one half price, so I really could get 2 for $1.50, which really still wasn't a bad deal. Doesn't break the bank. And I really like the assortment of colors that they had. I just got a couple of colors from there, but I am going to go back and get some more colors because they definitely had a better range of colors, and those were some colors I needed for another swap. But I just want to get right into this, so I'm going to cut about a 12-inch piece of crepe paper. There, and to make the 2-inch size, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna fold this in half. You don't have to be perfect about it. I just get it pretty close. It's easy to fold, obviously, because it's just crepe paper. And I am gonna hand sew these, so obviously you need a needle and thread, but again, not a big deal. It's just a quick running stitch, so don't be afraid of sewing. So yeah, just going to fold that in half. Then I'm just going to grab some thread here. I'm just using, normally I would just use my white thread, but I decided to use black thread just so it would show up a little bit better on camera. Little pro tip right here, my needle is sitting there, but my Apple Watch band is magnetic, so I use that. Little pro tip, just kidding. I just happens to work. And I'm going to thread my needle. Oh, I'm going to try to thread my needle. There we go, thread the needle. Then I'm just going to double it. And I'm going to do a knot. I just do a knot. You probably don't have to, but just so I don't accidentally pull it all the way through. So I did where you pull the thread through twice to make a knot. And I'm going to do it one more time real quick. Or not. One more time real quick. Come on. 1, 2. Okay. And I can leave that tail on there. That actually gives me a little bit more to pull with. So like I said, it's just a straight running stitch, but we're just going to use the side that's folded. So the open side will be at the top, and we're going to sew, I don't know, I usually leave maybe a 1/16 of an inch, maybe a little bit more from the bottom. And we're just going to do a quick running stitch all the way to the end. I try to keep my stitches somewhat consistently spaced, but again, doesn't have to be perfect. And even when I pull it through, I'll leave a couple of inches at the bottom, because that gives me, from the bottom, I should say. And I'll just keep going. I tend to kind of move my paper and just hold my needle straight. And it's going pretty quick, and you can see it's already starting to like curl up like Rosette itself. Over more, there we go. And I'm just gonna keep going. Now I know you can do this on the sewing machine. I just haven't tried it yet. Honestly, I just didn't really feel like pulling out my sewing machine for this. I mean, if I had to make a whole bunch, maybe I would, but if I just have to make a few, I'm not really worried about that. I can just do it while I'm watching some YouTube or some Netflix, which actually I'm watching a documentary right now, which I've paused. Gotta love them documentaries. I'm just gonna keep going. Love those Netflix documentaries. So I'm kind of excited. HBO's got a couple of new ones coming out starting March 10th. They got a new mini-series one, so I want to check that out, but that means I have to get HBO. But that's okay, because we have the Sling TV, so you can just add it on for like a month and just pay for it for 1 month. And I really want to see the documentary, so I will get it for 1 month. It's worth it. Okay. And now I'm just going to pull that through. Now that I'm here, what I'm going to do is I want to connect my two ends. So I'm going to come back, making sure that I'm on the top where so it sits flat. And I'm just going to come up just a little bit above where my stitch line was. And I'm just going to put maybe another 1 or 2 stitches in. And I'm just going to pull it. Now, when I start to pull, because I'm going to pull from both ends, I want to make sure that I'm pulling, excuse me, I'm pulling in the same direction that I was sewing so that I don't rip my crepe paper. If you pull the opposite or start pulling this way, up and down, you risk ripping. Been there, done that. So I want to make sure that I'm pulling in the same direction as I was sewing. And I'm just going to carefully pull, and don't worry about that flipping up like that. We can fix that. And I'm not pulling hard, but I am pulling from both ends. You can see this one's getting longer at the same time, so I'm just pulling carefully. And see how that's like sticking up? Don't worry about that. It's crepe paper. Just push it down in the center a little bit, and that'll help flatten that out. It's not a big deal. So now I'm just going to pull it snug, not tight, snug, we'll say. And then real quick, let me just cut off my needle. I probably cut a little bit too much thread, but, you know, dollar store thread, I'm not really worried about the waste on that. And I'm going to pull it through. I'm going to loop it around twice. And I'm just going to tie my knot. Now, normally I wouldn't use black thread. I would use white thread. Not that you really see much of it anyway, but I just did it for camera purposes. But it's still usable. Still usable. And I pulled it through twice. Second knot. And done. Check that out. How cool is that? Now, it's fluffy because it's got 2 layers, so it's got a little thickness to it, is what I like. But they're flat because with the shipping prices the way they're being, I'm trying to find lightweight things to add to my swaps as either goodie or right on my swap. And I'm also trying to find things flat to keep my packages as flat as I can. Trying to save a little bit, you know, trying to keep that shipping in the smaller envelopes for around $4. So lightweight, flat, but pretty, and you can get such an assortment of color. You can make tons of them out of 1 roll. I mean, you can get so many different colors. Love that. So the other thing I was going to show real quick, like if you wanted to make a bigger one. Now that's 2 inches. Now, yeah, I got a little off right there. It might have been the way I folded. I can just trim that little piece that was sticking up, and it still looks round. It doesn't look junky. So yeah, so I got some there. Now, I did make this little bit of a bigger one, which I could trim that one too. It's like really not a big deal. See? Don't even notice it. And this one is probably about 2.5 inches. And I'll just show you real quick how I did that. What color, what color? Let's do a bigger one in purple. So I still need a 12-inch piece, but I actually want two pieces. So let's just cut a 12-inch. I'm just using my cutting mat, the ruler on my cutting mat, just to get it about. And I'm going to cut a second piece. Good enough. Put that over on the side. And this time I will use white thread since I'm using the darker color, so you guys can see it. So if I want to make it a little bigger, I want to fold this about a third of the way up. Instead of right to the top, I'm just going to do it in thirds. And, you know, just keep it somewhat consistent. It's not hard to do. Really isn't. And I'm going to fold that down. And I just walk my finger down just to, and there's one. And we're going to do the same on this one. I'm going to fold it about a third of the way up. And then I will show you how I do that real quick. I like to do them the double. And I do like to fold them because that gives a little bit more of something for your needle and your thread to bite through. It gives more layers so that it doesn't just rip out too easily as you're pulling. And what I want to do now is I have the folded up side, and since it's not centered, I want to hide those. I'm going to put those like wrong sides together, kind of like when you're sewing fabric. I'm going to put the two folded sides together so you have both front and back are clean. And we're going to do the same thing. This time I'll use the white thread. And yeah, I probably pull out about 24 inches of thread. I like to have a little extra. I don't want to run into a problem where I don't have enough at the end to tie, or I got it all crammed down at the bottom because I didn't cut my thread long enough. Ooh, I almost forgot to thread my needle. Use my watch again. Oop. Just drop one side, no big deal. Same thing, no big deals. Stuff's pretty easy to do. 1, 2. And then I'll do it again. Maybe not. Why is it? I can do this perfectly fine, no problem, when I'm not filming. The second you turn the camera on, everything's got to mess with me. But I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm going to start on the folded. I'm going to use the folded edges. And I'll just line it up where I'm starting. Same deal. I'm just going to maybe a little bit more than a 1/16 of an inch. Maybe not quite an 1/8 of an inch. And I'm just going to start my stitching just like I did last time. And I'll just keep lining it up as I work my way down. Doesn't have to be perfectly lined up. And then I'll start pulling it through. I'll leave a couple of inches at the bottom there. I'll just keep lining it up. But it's very easy. And I just thought these looked the nicest. I saw a few techniques and I'm like, yeah, but you have to embellish it or it kind of looks eh. So this way you don't have to embellish. If, you know, you just want to give them as, because I gave some plain, I embellished some and then I gave some as plain, as a gift, as a goodie, as an extra, because I'm trying to find inexpensive goodies that don't break the bank, and like I said, light and flat for shipping. I want to get creative in that respect. And yeah, I'm just going to keep going right to the end. It's the same process, basically. I just wanted to show how you folded it. And we're going to do the same process at the end of sewing it back through the end, pulling it, make sure we're pulling in the same direction as we were sewing. Yeah, I did single, but then you see that with like a single layer, but then you see that fold on the back side and the top. I just felt it looked kind of thin, but you had the bottom was thicker from where you folded. So I said, I'm just going to start backing them. Do 2 pieces. And then I liked the way that looked better. And I will say I actually kind of like the quality of the crepe paper from Party City a little bit better than the Dollar Tree. But they don't come out bad. But I did find that, I do think my other ones came out a little nicer, and I just think it's because of the material. And I'll tell you, it's actually funny because I think the ones from Party City is actually a little thinner. It's not as thick, and I think that's why, though, it made it just a little neater. Like it pulled through because it was a little softer. It rosetted, I guess, a little nicer. I don't know. Could be just me. And then, yeah, I'm just going to do, like, you know, 1 or 2 stitches in. And we're going to do the same thing. We just want to make sure we pull from the same direction. I'm just going to hold it down flatter, you know, to some degree. Really just ends flat. And I just want to make sure I'm not pulling this way. I'm pulling through it. I'm pulling in the same direction as it's already headed. And see? Just take your time pulling it. Don't want to pull too hard to rip. And then once I get here, all I end up doing is taking my thumb or my finger and just kind of pushing down the center a little bit. And just squishing that down a little because that'll help hold it in place while I tie the knot. Cut my needle off. 1, 2, and just tie it in a knot. And 1, 2, tie a knot. Now I know it's locked in place. And check that out. How cool is that? See, it's got a little fluff to it. I just kind of fluffed these out a little bit just to give it a little. And it looks good from both sides, and when you embellish, you're not going to see any of that. Even if it's on your on the back, you can always just... I don't have the hole puncher here. Oh, I do. Check that out. I do have it. And I can just... I got a thing. I can't do it that way because I try not to waste too much paper. And I just have this little circle punch. I said hole punch, but circle punch. And then I can just hot glue that on the back. It covers it up. And you got a nice base to put your pop dot or glue or however you're going to attach it to your projects. And there you go. So that's it, guys. That's it. It was super easy. I love making them. Like I said, when I'm watching my documentaries, I can pump out a few of these babies. And what's nice is when you have the larger and the smaller, you can layer them up, which I did in my swap with the other colors that I had. And you can layer them up, which I think I'm going to do for this swap also. And you can do them like that. So yeah, I thought that was kind of fun and interesting. But that's it, guys. That's all I have for you today. Hope this helped. It was the best technique I found. I just liked the way they looked the best. People were doing them with like hot glue, and I was like, I just felt they didn't come out as consistent as when sewing, and they would probably come out more consistent even with the sewing machine. But I know there is a trick to that, like the way either the stitch that you use and then the way you pull it. I just don't want to say exactly how it's done because I haven't really looked into it yet. And like I said, I just didn't feel like pulling out my sewing machine. But there we go. That's what I made. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you liked it. Hope you find this useful. And thanks for watching. Thanks for liking. Thanks for subscribing. Have a good one.